Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
Welcome back to the Inner Child Podcast. Today we continue our chat with Michael Dorn, and we focus on his Star Trek career. We talk about all the prosthetics that he had to go through and why he wouldn't want to do them again. And we also dive deep into Picard, the rumors that he's going to return, and whether or not he's actually interested in doing so. It's an awesome time, so check it out and make sure you let us know what you think about these shorter, more topic-based clip episodes versus our older, longer ones. We know it's easy to get overwhelmed by a timestamp, so we thought we'd try out something new. So without further ado, here's Michael Dorn.
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
To return our conversation to Picard.
Okay.
With
Picard, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So being that you were this wonderful character, my dad's favorite character, I grew up with Star Trek. Is there anything that you could say for people going into wearing prosthetics? Because it looks like you wore them quite often.
Yeah.
I wish the listeners could see your face. That was incredible.
It was the one really dark spot about doing the show. The people. I love the people, and I love the character, and the work was great. It's always nice to have a job, but that 3 hours every morning was out of control. And the first 2 years, it got really bad. I had a very bad skin condition that came up, and I thought I had to quit. I really did. I didn't want to, and I told the producers, it's not about anything, but I got to have a career after this show's over.
Right.
And luckily, they took the time and the effort to change it so that it didn't cause too much trouble. But I would say, luckily enough, they don't do 26 episodes of anything these days, except for maybe sitcoms and things like that. So I would tell people, be careful what you wish for, because makeup is really, really difficult. And we've had people come on Next Generation, like these they were radio DJs. And a lot of people, oh God, I really want to do that. I'll come on as an alien. And they really want to do it really. And the day after they're done, they'll say, I'll never do this again. I will never. And I go, yeah, that's, I mean, I don't know if I'd ever do it again. I have no idea.
Well,
it's funny.
I will say it didn't do anything to your face. You're still handsome. All right, Joe.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember, I think it was Alan Oppenheimer was telling me he had done a few roles in Star Trek.
I love Alan Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he was on the show and he was talking about it, and he was talking about how he would go out for a smoke break and he was in full the prosthetics. So is that did you take your breaks and spend your lunch breaks in your prosthetics as well?
Luckily, in the first year, the first 6 months, we'd always go to lunch in the commissary, which was a kind of a Hollywood thing to do. And it was terrible, because I couldn't eat, because if I tried to chew, the beard would come off, and people are pointing and, hey, look, honey, there's the monster, and it just got to be, so and they were very good about that. They bring you great lunches, and I'd stay in my trailer. I never went out. It was a pain. It was a pain.
Well, I'm going to skip across the landmines here and ask you another question about Picard. It is heavily rumored that you will make a return, or could potentially make a return. Is there anything you can say about that, or is that something that non-disclosure agreements are going to crush you with?
No, not at all. In fact, I can say with full freedom that they have not contacted me at all.
Okay.
Would you like them to?
It would just depend on the part. It would just depend. Once again, 3 hours of makeup.
Yeah.
For 26 episodes, like you said.
I don't know if I want to do that. But it just would depend on a lot of things. Depend on the part. It depended on what they wanted to do with the character, just all of these things. I mean, that's the good thing about where I am in my career right now, is that I pick and choose things that I want to do because they're interesting and not because I have to. I mean, the only real reason for doing that is so I can, giggle and laugh with Patrick and everybody for a few days, which is always a lot of fun.
Nice.
But otherwise, no. They haven't, the show's been on for a couple of years, so they have not made a peep out of them. So
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate your support and we'd love to hear from you. So make sure to follow us and hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Literary Joe. You can also find Lexi at Darth Lexi with 2 I's, and you can find Nick at Comic Brooks. For those avid readers out there, be sure to check out the articles on comicbookmovie.com for the written transcript and other cool images. Thanks again.
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.